Hey everyone, welcome back to L2 Games. It's Nick here, and today we're going to be talking about The Last of Us. So several months ago we got a leak that Naughty Dog was in the process of remaking the first Last of Us game, and I for one was hoping that that was just a rumor, that it wasn't true, because I feel like even though The Last of Us isn't a new game, it came out in 2013, so it's coming up on 9 years old now, it's still relatively recent enough that it doesn't really warrant getting a remake. Unfortunately, my hopes were dashed this last week when we found out that Naughty Dog are indeed remaking The Last of Us, so the remake is officially titled The Last of Us Part 1, and it is being remade for the PS5 and PC. As I said before, I'm kinda disappointed by this news, main reason being that The Last of Us Remastered came out for PS4 in 2014, and it still holds up really well even today. Visually, there's nothing wrong with it. There hasn't really been a big enough leap in graphics since its release to really justify this. Ironically enough, Naughty Dog posted on their Instagram page that a leap in console generations means a leap in graphical technology, and I just don't see that being as true. You know, it looks a little more like a hop than a leap to me. Visually, at least, The Last of Us Remastered holds up really well. And even from a gameplay perspective, I really don't feel like The Last of Us is all that outdated yet. The Last of Us Part 2 really piggybacked off a lot of what the first game did, and it wasn't too much of a stretch gameplay-wise from the first game. Yeah, there were a lot of improvements, and it did feel a lot smoother, and visually, of course, it's one of the most beautiful-looking games I've ever played, but I still don't think it was enough of a leap to justify going back and remaking the first game at this point. We did get a brief glimpse in their reveal trailer of some of the cutscenes from the first game that, to me, they don't look substantially different, and I'm assuming that they're not going to go back and redo all the voiceover or the mocap. I think that would just be a waste of time and resources, but at the same time, I feel like this whole game is kind of a waste of time and resources. So really, to me, this game looks like it's nothing more than a cash grab, especially when you consider it's got the full retail price tag of a brand new game in 2022, which here in Canada is $90. It's really hard for me to justify spending that kind of money on a remake of a game that only came out 9 years ago if they aren't going to completely redo everything. Now, I understand gameplay-wise and as far as visuals go, it's being built from the ground up on the same engine as The Last of Us 2 and bringing it into the modern era, but with The Last of Us Remastered still holding up so well, I just don't see a reason to go out and buy this game. As far as we know to this point, they aren't adding any new story content, they aren't expanding on the original story, it's just a shot-for-shot remake. And so I'm really disappointed by that because, again, it feels like it's a cash grab, which, as a consumer, always feels kind of like a slap in the face, and it also just seems like a waste of time and money. With Nathan Drake's story in Uncharted being put behind us, and with Joel and Ellie's stories in The Last of Us seemingly coming to a close, I was really hoping we'd get something new out of Naughty Dog, even if it's a story in one of those universes. Instead, to go back and rebuild the first game of The Last of Us when there are only 2 games anyway, it just seems really wasteful and totally unnecessary. The only justification I can really see for this game existing is the fact that The Last of Us TV series is coming out on HBO Max relatively soon. I think the argument could be made that Naughty Dog is trying to bring as many people as they can into this universe before that TV show releases so that they can maximize their viewership and justify continuing to make it. Of course, having come out in 2013, there might have been a lot of people who, at the time The Last of Us released, weren't old enough to play it or couldn't get behind the more mature themes and storytelling of the game, but now are old enough to appreciate it a little more, and so they want to get those people introduced to that world and get them invested in the stories of those characters before the show comes out. So from that standpoint, it is justifiable, but I think if anything, maybe they should be doing something to promote The Last of Us Remastered instead. It still holds up well, it plays on PS5, and if they're not doing anything substantial to change the story, I just don't see any reason why they couldn't rely on that other than trying to make a bunch of money off of what very clearly seems to be a cash grab. Now here's the thing, I'm not saying that this will be a bad game or that it looks awful or anything like that. I think the story in The Last of Us is phenomenal, and as long as they stick to it and don't make any major changes to it, it'll still be a great experience for people who want to play through it. It's just that I feel that this remake is entirely unnecessary. There isn't a reason for it to exist other than making money. And of course, nobody's forcing anyone to buy this. I'm not saying that at all. It's just a little concerning to me that a developer thinks that they need to go and remake a game that isn't even 10 years old yet, and that people will think that they need to buy this. And obviously that's worked in the past. A lot of people bought The Last of Us Remastered, so it's not necessarily a bad business decision for Naughty Dog, but as a gamer, I want to see new things. I want to see new ideas, new concepts, new gameplay mechanics, and I want to experience new stories. So to see them retreading old ground after less than 10 years is just a bit concerning to me. So I'm pretty disappointed by that. I don't think this is a game I'm going to buy. If you're new to The Last of Us and you haven't played it at all, maybe this is the best way to experience it for the first time, but given the price tag, I think the better option is just to play The Last of Us Remastered, because again, it holds up really well to this date. It's a great game in terms of gameplay, storytelling, and visuals, so rather than go out and spend, $80 if you're in the US or $90 here in Canada on a brand new game, play a game that is basically the same for, you could probably find The Last of Us Remastered for as little as $10. It's just not worth it, in my opinion, to go out and pick up this remake. And yeah, it just seems like a greedy move on Naughty Dog's part. So I'm very disappointed on my end, but I'd love to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments, what do you think of The Last of Us Part 1? Do you think it's just a cash grab, or is this actually a justifiable remake, given that the original game came out almost a decade ago? Let me know, and we'll see you in the next one.